Hi, and welcome to today's episode. Today, we're joined by Leanne Sumnall, a psychodynamic counsellor, founder of Maze Counselling Service, and co founder of Maze Tonic CIC. And author of two powerful books supporting survivors of narcissistic abuse, Leanne has built a people first, ethical, trauma informed counselling service that's helping individuals, couples, families, and even fellow therapists across the UK. Leanne, thank you for being here. Take us
Thank
back to the
you.
beginning. Tell us about you and where you started.
Okay, so initially I'm from a banking background. Didn't like it, and I progressed through and got into advertising, the world of advertising. So I did magazines. I worked for the radio for Signal Radio, when we actually did have a local radio station. And then I got made redundant, and within a few months, I became really unwell, Marie. So I started having the loss of my left arm, and I was in a lot of pain. I had to have lots of surgeries, lots of investigations, and all in all, it took them 14 years to diagnose me and give me the correct procedure. Um, so in that time, I was used to being intellectually active in my work, and I couldn't. So I tried to study law. I did 3 years out of a 4-year course, and I had to finish because of pain. And so I never fully qualified. I did lots and lots of different things. So then when I was able to use my left arm and I could go back into the world of work, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And shortly afterwards, my dad was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor. So everything sort of got put on hold while, I mean, he was given 3 months and he lasted 10. So I helped him with obviously all the hospital appointments, doctors, chemo, radio, all of those different types of things. And when my dad passed away, it was literally just before he passed away, he kept going, "You need to do something, Leanne." He says, "You're too clever to sit there doing nothing." So 2 weeks after his funeral, a advert I had never seen before came on Facebook, and it advertised counselling. So I looked into it, and it was at Leek and Buxton College. I did my level 2 there, did my level 3, did my level 4, and just fell in love with it. I think helping people is the most amazing thing to do, and to see my clients progress is, I can't even tell you how rewarding it is. Um, so I always wanted to do couples. So when I finished training, I specialised in counselling individuals with relationship issues. And obviously being psychodynamically trained, it's all about attachment, your caregivers, whether that's your parents or if you've been in the foster system or however it's looked for you. And then I've recently qualified as a couples counsellor. I did my training with Relate, which is now Family Action Relate. So I now see couples in my office in Cheadle, on the High Street in Staffordshire, and I also see couples online throughout the whole of the UK. So it's been sort of a varied journey, but setting up Maze was basically my dad's sort of idea of, yeah, which direction I should go into, and I feel like he sort of steered me.
It's interesting when you say those signs as well, when you seen the advertisement on Facebook and that popping up at the right time and that kind of pattern that you've gone on. It's sometimes these things are sent for various reasons, aren't they?
Massively. And even like now, there's certain things that I see or I hear that like my dad would know. And in my counselling room, it's amazing. Everyone who visits it in Cheadle, because it's such an old building, the room is absolutely phenomenal. And everyone says they can feel the calmness when they walk into the building, into my room. And in my room, I've got my dad's pictures of my dad's favourite flowers. I've also got the butterfly that constantly flew over my dad when he was passing. I've got a picture of that in there, and I've also got I was best friends with my nan, who was 103 when she passed away. and she was amazing. And I've got her clock that was always in her house in there. So there's lots of like representations of who's made me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you can, like, the energy is such a big thing, whether that's your personal energy that you have, but also how you pick that up. I mean, I found in the work that I do that certain types of people tend to gravitate towards me, whether that's kind of in the street having a conversation with someone random, and or those clients that come in as well. And obviously for your clients to pick up on that energy is fundamental to their kind of progress with you, but also how they settle into it as well.
Yeah, because I think when people see counsellors, they have to try and find someone who they fit with, because not everyone likes everyone, and it's their journey and it's how they want it to look. So for me, I just believe in complete open and honesty, and that's my style. You know, I tell my clients, if I ask you a question and it makes you feel uncomfortable, you tell me to shut up. And then I move on because it means you're not ready yet. It's just little things like that to make sure that the clients I have are the clients that connect with me so I can connect with them.
And that's important, and that's a journey, isn't it, that people take, whether that's your own personal one, obviously as a practitioner, but also taking your clients on that journey and for them to be ready at that point, or feeling open, because I think all too often we're guilty, and I think especially women are, of not speaking up, holding our voice, and then that then leads into further kind of difficulties and problems and how that shows up. I mean, obviously when you're talking about that kind of soul alignment, do you feel that as you've progressed through obviously your training, those different steps, that you are feeling a little more aligned perhaps on your soul's purpose? Or I mean, what are your thoughts around that kind of journey for yourself, as well as a woman in the society?
Yeah, I think we spend so much time, I don't know whether you agree, Marie, I think we spend so much time thinking about the what ifs, what could have been, what we should have done different, what we could have done different. And when people ask me the question about, do you love your job? It's one of the questions we always ask each other. I just wish I'd done this earlier. I felt like this has always been my purpose, because it's not just my clients. If there's a counsellor out there who's just started, or a counsellor who wants some advice, I'm there. I try and help as much as possible, because my journey into setting up my own private practice was different, difficult. I've never been self-employed before. So I just try and help people as much as possible on their journey to do the same thing as me, because sometimes you have to let things slide to be able to really understand where you are, what to appreciate, how you've got here. So it's not just going, okay, pat on the back, it's this is where you're supposed to be.
And it's having that kind of capacity to realize that some of the struggles, I'd seen a quote, I can't remember word for word, and it was something like the kind of, it's to do with the surrender more so than and surrender and allowing that to be, and having to go through those challenges and that kind of rise before the fall, and how we can sometimes, we do question ourselves, and it's about how we allow ourselves that grace to go on that. And I think sometimes people need a little nudge or a little guidance, or just that reaffirming that, that is okay.
Yeah, and weirdly, I wrote a sentence down because I journal a lot. And I wrote a sentence down and I wrote it here, so I didn't forget to tell you, because being in a certain age, perimenopause is amazing. So I've actually wrote down, use your passion to fuel your resilience, because I think it's so important, because when we have knocks, whether it's in our personal lives or in work, we can just get sidetracked with frustration, anger, when it should just fuel your passion even more to want to do what you're supposed to do.
And I think, like you're saying, like with resilience, it is something, it's a muscle, isn't it? We have to kind of learn to adapt to, and realize that some things will stretch us a little bit. And it's finding the ease within that restriction that helps us kind of grow and flourish beyond that. And it's not supposed to, and I'm not trying to sound cliche, but it is that learning to roll with it, to kind of accept it, as well as
Yeah.
sometimes we have to sit with it, and sometimes we have to have that little bit of discomfort, but feeling okay, it is okay to feel a little bit like that, but it's how we kind of rise and pick ourselves up from there. I mean, is there anything that you found within your kind of setting then about how people could perhaps develop their resilience to allow for that kind of restriction?
I think it's quite interesting for people to do journaling and be quite reflective, because I think when you start to journal and you think about how you have done something or how you think you should have done something, it gives such growth. So it isn't just about acceptance of something might have gone wrong or something might be even terribly wrong. It's about what can you do to grow, to make that experience matter, whether it's an experience, challenge, however you want to reframe it. And it's about seeing what I always say. So my journal, just grab it here. So my journal is here. Probably everyone does the same thing, but you write in your journal, and then after a few months, read it back. See how strong you actually were when you thought you weren't. Utilize that as your journey, not just your past. Because for me, I always say to my clients, knowing your weaknesses is your superpower, because you can either find out how you can change it to a strength, or you surround yourself with the right tribe who can help you, because my weakness might be someone else's strength. So you're finding this collective, this huge support system, and who doesn't want that? So find out what your weaknesses are, celebrate your weaknesses, because that means you're surrounding yourself with the right people.
And it's, I like what you say about that, when you're kind of reflecting on and also revisiting it rather than using it as a closed book exercise. So therefore you've wrote about it, so therefore then disregard it.
Exactly.
I mean, I've journaled over the years, and sometimes when I've read back myself, I'm like, oh, I knew what I was talking about. But all too often we get caught up in our own kind of negative thoughts and that kind of self-sabotaging. You think, well, actually, no. And as we go, all that we seek, we have already within us. We just need to realize the strength of that. But sometimes society, this or something, kind of tips away at us and chips away at us and makes us doubt that. And sometimes when we strip it back and come back to ourselves, that therein lies our power. But it's joining those bits together, and that's why it can be helpful to go into therapy to rediscover that, or just to reaffirm what we already know. But it can take a little guidance for that, and there's no shame in that as well. And I think that's really,
I think as well, some people come into therapy and seek counselling because they feel like they've never been validated, but they think their experiences are unique to them, which they can be and they will be. But hearing a counsellor saying it's okay, you're just on whatever journey it is, whether it's grief, relationships, whatever, it's knowing that you aren't alone. Your struggles are your struggles. Just because you feel like you should be okay because you've got a job, house, children, whatever it looks like, doesn't mean that it isn't important to you. It's your journey. It's your unique individual journey. So it's to be celebrated. And if you're in using your word, if you're in a funk, that's fine. It's okay to be in a funk, but it's about how you want it to look when you're out of that.
And taking those steps as well, isn't it? It's almost kind of recognizing that you're in a funk, and also whether or not you kind of develop your own little toolkit to get you out of a funk. I mean, what kind of things have you used personally, or what kind of things, maybe what kind of threads come through your sessions about what kind of tools, or how can people develop their own toolkit? Where would you put
I think
that?
knowing what's in your toolkit first is really important, because I always say some people have grown up to be into their 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever. And when they look back, it's never about parent bashing. But when they look back, us as parents, we all have guilt parenting. We can only give our children what we have ourselves. So look at what your parents have given you, see what you want to chuck out, and then find out what you want to fill that toolbox with. And I think a lot of my clients, so some of them have found faith. They've started going to church. They've gone to a few churches to see what type of religion fits with them. Brilliant. Find where you fit, because we're all so different. I have clients that have taken up meditation. Some of them it works for, some of it doesn't. I personally went to a Buddhist temple for the first time last weekend. I recommend it. I did a meditation with him. It was brilliant.
I was just gonna. I've been to a meditation. Yes, I did. We'll come back to that. Let me know.
It was so amazing. So other things are journaling, and obviously people journal in different ways. You can use it as a diary. You can use it as a reflective journal. There's also something called stream of consciousness, where you set yourself a timer, maximum of 15 minutes, with no ideas whatsoever in your head of what you're going to write. Just put pen to paper and stop when your 15-minute timer goes off. It's amazing what comes out of your head and your mind on those pages. So that's a brilliant technique to use. There's also finding ways to self-soothe. So how you ground yourself. Some people take their shoes off. Some people have a hair bubble to snap, which obviously helps with anxiety as well. Some people just need to get outside. So whether it's stepping outside on your back step, whether it's going for a walk, going for a run, however it looks for you, because everyone obviously is different, and mobility issues, etc. It's finding what works for you. Music. Remember your favorite music, because one of the things I always find with clients who are feeling like anxiety or depression or low mood, they stop listening to the things that they used to like. They stop doing the things that they used to like, and that's fine, but you need your happy hormones. So if you can remember your favorite song that you always used to listen to, put it on in the morning. Put it on in the evening, put it on really loud in the car, however it is, headphones. Music is amazing because it takes us back to a time when we used to go clubbing, or it reminds you of someone you've lost, or anything. So there's things like that. Reframing is really, really good as well, because we instantly, I think, as a society, think of something we've done and it's a negative instantly. That's fine. But then try and reframe it to a positive. Because the more we do that, the more we reframe. We haven't got to instantly think about it. It just happens. But it's a learned process. So there's so many different things and different tools. It's about finding what's right for that person for the time they need it.
Yeah. And it's like, and obviously how you say with meditation, I mean, that's kind of that ties into the fundamentals of unfold your soul, music, movement, and meditation. It's that kind of how we can move our bodies to change our physiology, listening to music that brings us joy, but also that we can connect with. So whether it is that kind of fundamentals where we can seek that support in the lyrics or get lost in the beat of whichever. I do like drum and bass, so I like my, but not all the time. But then also meditation isn't necessarily for everybody, but it's finding something that works and kind of empowering people to do that, and to rely on different things. And it's not, I mean, I do like going for a walk. I am one that is always outside. I've been out for a walk today, even though it is snowy underfoot. It felt like an aerobic workout, trying to keep traction and not slip. But I'm very much, I'm always walking. People locally to me were surprised when I actually have a car because they see me walk all the time. But if I can walk it, I will walk it. So I see the benefits in that. And also, like I said, like music brings me joy. Dancing does. It kind of lightens me up, fills me with joy. And I think that's how we can have that connection. Like when you said about music as well, I tend to listen to music from like my teenage years. You know, I am a 90s girl. So I do listen to my 90s music. It's on repeat. But it's that tying to that sense of joy and the lyrics. I mean, there's a certain song that I really do like, and I can remember the first time I heard it on the dance floor. I was probably 15 and too young to be in a club, but
That's when clubs were clubs, though, Marie.
And you could just give them a fake date of birth and they believed you. But that's the joyful time, and it's something that I
Yeah,
can look back to. And I think when we can do that, that does help a little bit. And it can be troubling when you are going through that kind of dark phase. If you suffer from depression, anxiety, it is hard to see or find that way out. But like you're saying, with that sense of having built in that toolkit and those little things that you can anchor joy to, it helps
yeah,
alongside things. So if you are talking therapy or any other kind of therapy, it's those steps, and it's not a cop out. It's just about how you can build that resilience and how
yeah,
you can come back to you, because that it is. It's like you're saying, building that trust with yourself,
yes,
kind of intuitively building it, but then also having that capacity to weather the storm as well, because it does pass, but it can
yeah,
be
yeah.
difficult, can't it, to see that as well. Is there anything else you'd say, like with regards to joy? I mean, what are you what brings you joy? Obviously, you mentioned about your 90s music and clubs were clubs. What else would you say
Yeah.
lights you up?
For me, I'm very much a experienced person. I think, especially on this journey, we have to, on the counselling journey, you have to really dig into every aspect of life. And I think the only thing that is left when we aren't here is memories for the people that are here, that are still here. So I'm not really a massive gift giver. I'm an experience giver. And that just brings me joy. I love meeting my friends. I love spending time with my daughter, my husband, two dogs. Um, so just being around people, um, having lovely times with them, being there when they're sad, being there when they're happy, um, showing what life is to people, and that you can be a shoulder to cry on, but you can also have such joy and laughter just being in the presence of some people.
That's priceless, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, so priceless. Because
Yeah.
I think as well with gifts, um, yes, okay, they've got monetary value, but with an experience, you don't always have to spend money. You can, just like you said, you can go for a walk with them. You can have them round and have a brew or a, whatever, make them a meal. I think it's just really important to just center yourself sometimes and find out what makes you rich, not financially, what makes your heart rich.
Yeah. It's kind of that value in presence over
Yes,
presence. And
yes.
that's something that does get lost.
Mm,
It gets lost, and it's not anyone's detriment, but sometimes it could be about taking that time, thinking, okay. And I think as a working mother, when I reflect back, because obviously, like we've shared with our children being of a similar age, and now
yeah,
and then going off onto the next steps. Now, when I think back in hindsight, I'm like, the times when you're rushing children to like get to the next milestone, to be able to do this and do this, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh my gosh. And I said to my children the other day, we were sitting down being a bit daft and everything. I goes, yeah, and I was like, but I need to make the most of this time because you're going to be gone soon. And then they were like, oh, now you're going to get all sad. Because no, it's just, I feel now, and kind of reflecting, to
yes,
appreciate that time a little bit more, because when
yeah,
you're a busy parent, and obviously you're a busy parent, you're stressed if you're working or even if you're at home full time, you're so conscious of that and trying to get through it that you don't sit back and reflect. And that's not,
no,
and obviously I've been there, and I'm not saying that I feel bad for that, because at that time you just do what you need to do at that time. And obviously in hindsight you can look back and reflect, think, oh, if only I did not put you in sports clubs so often, but I was working full time, so it's like I had to do that. And it's difficult, but obviously then you can make that time now to sit in there and think, okay, well, actually, let's do this together, and have that
exactly.
kind of time and value in those
Mm.
experiences. um but it is,
And
it's
I think the word that you kept using as well, Marie, is so powerful, is time. When I
mm,
speak to clients who reflect back on their childhood with working parents or not,
mm,
the only thing that they wish they had was more time with
yeah,
their parents. It was like, yes, we had a beautiful home. Yes, we had holidays. Yes, we had this. Yes, we had that. And we had, had the opportunities for this, but I just wanted to spend time with my parents. It's that time.
Yeah. And I think it was like when you kind of reflect with that time and whether or not you kind of like we've created our own like little traditions around Christmas, and that's it kind of frames around that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when they build that, and I don't know whether or not it would be something that clients could do or anything like that, is that when you build those traditions, it becomes like that becomes the fundamentals and that kind of not necessarily expectation, because it doesn't have to be big and bold, but they become like those, what do you think, like those core memories then, don't they? Oh, well, you did this together. So it's like how then you can link those I don't want to say good memories, but that kind of like you build it from there.
It's the things that make your heart feel warm.
Yeah.
It's those memories, isn't it? Of going, oh, when mum always used to do this, but in a positive way.
Yeah. And it's those little things that you think, okay, it's something that you've created. And I think from my own experience, trying to create those little traditions, especially around, not necessarily just around Christmas, but it's those they remember. And that's almost like, okay, so I mean, like I say, mine are 18 and almost 18 and 30. But they always have new pajamas Christmas Eve. And it's those kind of like, we always have a cooked breakfast and with our Bucks Fizz in the morning and Christmas morning. It's like, we could do that anywhere. It doesn't have to be in our own bricks and mortar, but these are what our family traditions are. And you kind of build on that then, don't you, really, as well?
Oh God, yeah. And I think as well, it allows them to continue those traditions and they get their own families, but also add some little ones in of their own.
Yeah.
So it's that growth again, isn't it? Of, this is what mum gave us and this is what we love, but let's just mix it up with something else too.
Yeah. And like you say, it's about leaving that legacy then, isn't it? And also kind of leaving those memories and how that kind of moves forward beyond you, creating ripples. But also kind of acknowledging where you may need to change or you might need to do something a little bit different, but that's the beauty in having that reflection. That kind of then obviously going back into like your journaling when you're saying about being able to reflect. I mean, how have you found that in your own parenting, having that kind of opportunity to reflect?
I think it's interesting as well because obviously my daughter's 18 and we're very, very, very close. And I just ask her again, open honesty. I'm like, so how was I as a mum? Because it's one of those where I'm sure every child probably says it at least once. Her friends think I'm like a cool parent. And my daughter's response all the time is, yes, but you don't have to live with her. Because it's just how we are. Like, she comes out with me with my friends. It's not an us and them. We are quite close. So when I do reflect on my parenting, of course, all of us could have done stuff differently, but it's about making sure that, one, you don't do it again. If it's something that you didn't like, if it was like a response or reaction to behavior, because we all do it when we're stressed. And it's just making sure that your child knows that you're always going to be their biggest cheerleader. Doesn't matter what happens, they can come to you 100% and tell you or ask when they need help. Because especially like obviously with your eldest and mine now not living at home, it's one of those where she phones me or she texts me and I'm like, I need it. This is amazing. But it's that connection, isn't it? It's keeping that connection. It's knowing that you've just done a good job.
Yeah. And it is, and it's that, isn't it? It's like you're not doing it for the accolade. Yeah. It's like for me and like with my own parenting, it feels right. And I'm not going to get it right all the time. And like I say to them, and like I say, I'm not your friend. And they're like, yeah, but mum, you are a friend. I goes, yeah, but I don't parent as if I am your friend. Yeah. I'm your mother. And there's some things that I do have to draw the line at. But it's a bit more of a democracy in the household. And sometimes I think, oh, I'm going to talk about it again. I just let it go. But it's sometimes you can. I'm very much, and I think again, being a reflective parent is that kind of repair and reflect. And sometimes when I have completely gone a little far, I'm like, then I'll sit and I'll be not sleeping all night. And I'm like, I think I took it too far. I had to speak to them in the morning and apologize.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing to be able to do that, because there's so many people that do struggle with that, or
Yeah.
may not have the words to articulate it, or obviously their experience when they were growing up was slightly different.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of pulls you back sometimes. But it is, and I think it's a blessing to be able to do that. But also then it's not a stick to beat yourself with as well, because
Oh God, no. Because I mean, at the end of the day, quite a lot of people haven't been raised to have difficult conversations. A lot of things do get swept under the rug until the rug's that high you can't even hoover it anymore. So it's allowing you to have those difficult conversations with your children so they know how to have them. It's not a confrontation, it's not conflict.
Yeah.
It's that saying, you know what, hands up, I was in the wrong, I'm really sorry. What can we do to repair this? Will you accept my apology?
Yeah.
Like, please. Or whatever's happened, but it allows them to go, do you know what? It's okay for me to say to X, Y, and Z, I'm sorry too, or I could have done this better, or it's taking that ownership, isn't it? And allowing it to trickle down.
And then it is such a blessing to know that obviously those kind of tools and techniques in conversation that has become your child's norm, they are then going to go on to do that as well. And it's about how that then ripples from them. And that's part of that legacy that you would leave behind then as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's really important, because if we look at our own childhoods and how our adulthood, there's bits we don't want our children to experience, or we don't want them to be anywhere near. But it doesn't mean that they have to touch it or experience it to know it's a bad thing. Yes, for them to make their own mistakes or have their own challenges. But it's allowing them to have a better toolbox than what we had, because life has given us so many different experiences to say, okay, life is different now, but how can we look after each other together?
And it's like, as a parent, you don't want them to struggle and obviously have that hardship or heartbreak and everything else, but that is part of life, isn't it? And it's part of that human experience that we all go through. But it's then being able to have those kind of skills, and they are skills. And I think I was having this conversation recently with how we can, like, if you're bringing mindfulness into schools for young people, for them to develop that kind of reflection and being able to do that. And it's okay doing it in school, but it's about empowering parents to have that, because they haven't necessarily had it. So in schools they could do that. And obviously I was talking to my daughter, who now works in schools with children's mental health, and she was saying that a lot of their work is directed at parents, so then they can then go into the home and work with their children. I guess, but that's where it needs to be, as well as schools. So it all kind of all encompasses children. But to be able to give young children those tools to be able to do it is incredible, because imagine the world that we would live in if you were able to do that. And I think that is something that does slightly missing. It's not unachievable, because if you have got parents that are seeking therapy and are seeking alternative ways, perhaps parenting or being open to, then that's a step in the right direction, which can only be a good thing.
Yeah, and I think as well, the education system isn't always geared up for everyone. So whether you're neurotypical or neurodiverse, I don't think it matters. If you have struggles, the education system can let you down. And as parents, we have to stick together and help each other. I have personal experience of a lot of struggles with the education system. And it took me quite a while to realise who else was struggling, that there are different avenues to explore. You don't have to struggle alone. There's so many different things that you don't know about to help your children. And I find it really exhausting that there isn't this help for children in the education system nowadays. I find it really frustrating, because these children, if they aren't nurtured and cared for and loved in the education system, then unfortunately one day they might have to seek
Yeah.
help. So I mean, I know you're on about your daughter, but we call each other work wives. My friend is called Wendy Miller, and she's a children's coach. She was a teacher for 20 years, and she was a STEM teacher too. And she decided to leave education to look after children's mental health. So she's a children's coach. And I always say to her, because I obviously refer a lot of inquiries about children to Wendy. And I always say, I just wish you could do everything. So I'm actually out of a job. It would be so amazing if not one adult had a bad educational experience. But unfortunately, we're just not there yet. We're just not there yet.
Yeah. And it is that, isn't it? It's because they are fundamentals, and that kind of experience going through education
Yeah,
shapes so much of our lives
massively.
that it's that. And there's so, yeah, I mean, I still work in education as well, and I can see, and it's a good school where I work,
Mhm.
but it's when you look at individual students, you think, what's being missed for them? Why is
Yeah,
their experience so fundamentally different? And it's
different.
that square peg, isn't it, in a round hole.
Yeah.
And it doesn't suit. I mean, I've worked in education for many, many years,
Mhm.
and it is realizing that it doesn't suit all children, but there's
Yeah.
not the capacity to adapt it to. And if it could be adapted, then more children would thrive,
Yes.
in whichever way that may be, whether that's
Mhm.
academic, hands-on, more vocational. There should be
Yes.
something for everybody, and we're nowhere near that, which is
Yeah.
detriment to society, I think, in some
Mhm.
respects. Obviously, coming through COVID, and obviously when we reflect on how that changed our lives from
Yes.
zero to as all the whole wrath of ages. And even then, it's still not changed, because now we've gone back to how it was, and it's that kind of like trajectory, and it's
Yeah.
still, there's still so many gaps. But services like yourself
Mhm.
offer that kind of light, like saying with Wendy as well, and those kind of things that we can do and refer to,
Mhm.
and hopefully then things may change, or the fundamentals might change a little bit. But having services like yourself are key to helping people to
Yeah.
take those steps as well, which is what we all need as well. um yeah, so let's go back to your Buddhist
Yeah.
temple experience. So tell me about that, because that's where my meditation journey started, going to a Buddhist
Okay.
temple.
So,
So yeah.
I've meditated on and off for years. Haven't done it for a little while. And then it was weird. We were at a Denson Farm Shop having something to eat, me and my husband, and a lady. You know how it's just weird experiences. A lady came over and she thought my husband was someone she knew. And because she was that embarrassed, she stayed and talked to us for ages. She mentioned this Buddhist temple near Derby.
Yeah.
And she was like, they have this cafe, you need to go and try it. And we were like, "Oh, okay." So we ended up going the following day. And my husband has wanting to meditate for years, and he's scared of it. He's
Yeah.
like, what if I do it wrong?
Yeah.
You can't do it wrong. So anyway, we went to the cafe, and it was so lovely. The people
Yeah.
in there, it was all run by volunteers all over the world. And one of the volunteers said, "Do you know it's the meditations in the next 10 minutes in the new temple?"
Mm.
So it was like all meant to be. So we went into the temple. We spoke to this lovely lady called Irene, who told us like lots more about the Buddhist temple, the Ash Hall, and the journey for it to be there. We had the meditation, which was so lovely, by this amazing young lady called Natalie. And it was so peaceful, and it was just an amazing experience. And I said to my husband afterwards, "What did you think?" He went, "I'm not sure I did it right." I'm like, "You stayed silent for half an hour. You definitely were doing it right." To the point where we are thinking about going back, and there's actually one that's actually closer to us instead of going to Derby. So we're looking into doing that as well. But it was so amazing. How did you find it?
Oh, I loved it. So when I originally did a course, So in 2015, I did a course that was facilitated by Google, which is called Search Inside Yourself. So it was a mindfulness course. I loved it. And then when I did that, I was then on the lookout for anything meditation related. I was like, I must do this more. And I ended up going to Tara, and I did lots of courses there. My children would go, but with families, they would do like a link up, a video link you could take children. So I used to always go, and we'd be in a separate room, but we could obviously do the meditation and the courses as well. My children would be there, but my children loved it. So they'd want to go back all the time. Even now, they want to go back to Tara, because, like you say, the grounds, it's so peaceful, calming. It's just like it's all about the energy, isn't it? And it's like when you arrive there,
it's just amazing.
I've seen it online, and I've seen it, and it's like even before in the main building, the rooms were stunning and the carpet was pristine. I was like, how do you keep this carpet so clean? But even like all the volunteers, like you're saying, obviously from all over the world, but it's just something else. So when you said that, I was like, yes, that's Tara.
It's so lovely there. I've literally been telling everyone, I'm like, you've got to go. It's so amazing.
Yeah, and it is. And I think because obviously at the time, and like it was interesting when you mentioned before, when you were talking about some of your clients, and they have, like, some have gone back to religion and things like that. And I think on my journey, I had gone back to the church. This was before I started meditating. I'd gone back to the church, and I'd been there for about 18 months, then realized it wasn't really fitting for me. Then I discovered meditation. I thought, oh, this is peace, this is calm. And then I went to, I was like saying, with the Buddhist temple.
Yeah.
My children would like describe me as being Buddhist. I was like, it's the principles of Buddhism and karma and everything else that I kind of got behind. But I wouldn't say I'm religious in one way or the other. But it is how you get to a certain point in life where you do not necessarily start questioning, but start seeking, or maybe life doesn't fit, or you don't quite fit in where you thought you did, and trying to find that. And I think that's part of that kind of self-discovery, and whether that is leading towards your soul's purpose or just coming to a point in your life. And I think being women, I think that is a kind of journey that we're on, from where we go through, perhaps if you're caregiving, whether that's parents, children, or animals, or whoever in your life. And then when you kind of come through those kind of different phases and get to a point where then you are in that kind of seeking journey, or what fits or that doesn't fit anymore, but giving ourselves permission to think, okay, we can shake things off. We haven't got to be that one version of us. There's several versions. It's taking those versions with you, but it's being okay with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think as well, it's about, how I said, I tell my clients to experience different things. Because you don't know what you want to experience. And that's how I am, if they want to find a faith, it's like, go to a few, see where you feel you need to be. If they want to get a new hobby, it's like, okay, as long as it's not risky. A few different things.
Define risk.
Terms and conditions all the time. Define risk. I'm like, try different things. Like, people have always gone, I want to try yoga. Try it. They hated it. Okay, that's fine. All you're doing is finding out what you don't want in your life. That's fine. And that also includes people. People come into our lives for a reason, whether it's negative or positive, they're there for a reason. Reflect why, move forward. And either that person comes with you, or that person doesn't. It's about your journey and how you want it to look. That's it.
Yeah. And it is. And I think being in this kind of environment, talking to more people, or sharing your story, your work and everything else, it kind of reaches more people. So then people think, okay, well, actually, especially if people are kind of questioning it, or they come to a point in their life where things are changing, children may be leaving home, jobs might be changing, relationships ending. The more people that kind of talk about it or bring it to the forefront, I think, oh, well, actually, that's not unusual for that to happen at this point in life. And, oh, it's okay if I do that. Not necessarily seeking that permission, but sometimes we need to see it to understand.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah, definitely. And that's it. It's okay. That's massive. It's okay. Like the other cliche sayings, this too will pass. All those other things. but it's true. I mean, for the people who haven't had children yet, this won't resonate. But it's always like when the midwife says it's one less push. At the time, you're like, no, it's not. But that's life. It's like there's one less friendship you have to worry about. There's one less place of work you have to worry about. There's always one less. Might not help you have that mindset at the time, depending on what your mindset is. But when you're out of it, it's one less experience.
And it's and it's definitely it's giving people that opportunity to see that.
Yeah.
And kind of like, you will stumble, you will struggle perhaps to find your voice or find something that resonates with you or that's for you, and being okay with that. And I think, like I say, the more that we talk about it, the more that we bring opportunities like this and having these conversations and being aware that there is a whole plethora of things that you've not even discovered about yourself yet, and things that you've not even tried, or people you haven't met. I think that's the biggest thing people don't realize, is that you haven't met the vast majority of people that are going to influence your life, and being open to it. And I think for me, like with my own journey, soon to be empty nester, but my nest will never be empty. I'm realizing that I have to kind of take these steps to actually go out and meet new people, raise a community, because I haven't got, and I suppose having children, because you're doing things for them, whereas now I need to do things for me. So I'm having to reassess and readjust my sails. So then that's something that, like I've said, is that this year feels big. Just come back a little bit and think, okay, what do I want to add more of in my life, and taking those little steps to do that, to nurture new relationships, to create new opportunities, and coming back to myself, but reinventing myself as well as a I can't even, like, because I'm still a parent, but I'm actually got no responsibility.
Mum.
Like, wow, this is like, I met a friend at the weekend, and she was like really excited for me, and I'm like, I am, but I've got to rein it in a little bit, but I've still got to take these steps. Because she was like, I'm going to see you walking down the street with this glow and this energy about yourself, because you're having all this time. I was like, yeah, but I just need to focus on like what's happening next week. But obviously taking that time to nurture new relationships, for me, that is something I did journal about. I can't think when time frame was, but it was like, okay, what do I want to develop? What do I need in my life now? What is going to not necessarily fill that void, because I don't feel that at all, but what do I want to nurture? And taking those those little seeds, and okay, so let's do this and let's do that. So I've done myself a little plan. I'll say plan, it's a little outline. Just a little outline, but then I've got action. There's got to be action in it, else it's just words on the page, isn't it? So there has to be some action that follows it as well. So but yeah.
And I think as well, like you said before, it's about realizing what used to give you energy and seeing if it still fits with you today. So like your music still fits today, but some things that used to give you energy won't anymore. And that's okay, because like you said, it gives you the space to find out what that new experience is that's going to fill that's going to give you this renewed energy. It's not saying that you're not going to be a mum anymore, because that's always there. It's just, who is Marie now, and who does Marie want to be?
And it's like that kind of like, it's almost like going back to infancy, and just like, but now it's just down to me. I'm just not that it's all about me, but it's just me and what I want to create, because potentially I could be around for another 40 years. That's a long time. So it's like, what do I want that to be? So I'm excited by it, and I feel very blessed to be in that position to do that. And like you say, that reflection, that review, and kind of adding to that toolkit and how I want to develop going forward. I feel like that's a kind of a privileged situation to be in. And obviously, like yourself with your daughter having left home, and it's just creating spaces, I think, that kind of you can vibe with people, then like vibe people on the same kind of energy and everything.
Exactly. It's finding your tribe. And if there's a space for that tribe, then I think we were on about it earlier, it's like that energy gravitates to you.
Mm,
Allow those people to come in
mm,
to create and forge this new, huge, massive tribe support system
mm.
that we all need as
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah. And it's like you're saying how some people might leave, but that gives you space then for other people.
Yeah,
So it's kind
yeah,
of like within the container, without the container, but then you've got to make space within there to welcome that new as well. So
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's just yeah, I'm excited. If you haven't guessed that already. I am a little bit excited. Um, so tell me, is there anything new that's happening with yourself and your services that you offer as well? Is there anything else in the future that that's happening for yourself, or whether it's for the CIC?
So with the CIC, we are just planning this year to get as much funding as possible so we can obviously deliver an inside out approach to health and well-being to people who can't pay for private services. And obviously we're hoping to do that in and around the whole of Staffordshire and then broaden out to different other counties. So that's quite high on the hit list for 2026. I obviously I'm a very, very busy person. I obviously wrote 2 books and had them both published last year. So possibly going to be giving it a break. Possibly. I do want to, I have been in talks with some people about doing some printable, downloadable worksheets for people. So I'm just in talks about what that's going to look like. Because for me, it's about reaching as many people as possible. So I'm hopefully going to be doing that in 2026. But yeah, it's just concentrate on my associates because I've got 8 team members that work for me throughout the UK. So concentrate more time on them. Yeah, and just enjoying people's journeys.
Mm. Yeah, and it's that is it's coming back to that, and like you're saying, the fundamentals of how you
Mm,
got into the work that you're doing and that journey that people can then go on. So
yeah,
what would
yeah.
you would so for anybody that's listening that may be struggling, that may be feeling a little stuck or unsure, what kind of advice or steps do you think that they should perhaps consider?
You quite a lot of my clients always say, I feel like I'm a burden. I don't want to talk to my husband, wife, mum, dad, partner, friends. They've heard it all before. I'm constantly saying the same thing. They're your friends and your support system for a reason. They want to know what's going on with you. You have to talk. It's so important for us to talk because it's not just telling someone our story. You give them the opportunity to go, actually, I've been feeling the same too. It's opening that conversation. It's allowing people in. And if you don't feel like it's something that you can talk to with your support system, then do seek help. It doesn't have to be with a private counsellor. You know, the NHS, you can get free sessions with a wellbeing. There is coaches, depending on if you prefer a coach to a counsellor. There's so many different ways. Just don't ever go through anything alone. Because sometimes I think life, we feel like we're wading through mud, and sometimes we have to, because we have to sit with our sadness sometimes to actually be able to fully feel joy. Um, but it's always knowing when it's time to speak to someone. It's time to let people in, allow people to help you. I think it's so important.
And it is like you're saying, there's no shame in that as well. It's
Yeah.
relying on people that you can rely on, but then also knowing where perhaps you need some additional support and take
Yes.
that next step.
Yeah. And I think as well, a lot of people always say to me and my friends who are counsellors, I wish I'd done it earlier. It's okay. You have to be ready. Um, but I have one client who goes to the gym and they have a personal trainer and they said to the personal trainer, oh God, I've got to go. I've got an appointment with me. And they're like, oh, where are you going? He went, oh, I've got to see my counsellor. And he went, why? What's wrong with you? And it is that stigma that just doesn't
Mm,
it just doesn't exist.
mm,
And their reply was amazing. It was like, I come here to the gym for my physical health. I see Leanne for my mental health. She knows me inside out. So if I do start slipping or feel like I'm spiraling or feeling a little bit lost or stuck, she helps me get out of it.
Mm.
That's it. You don't have to be unwell to see a counsellor. You can see a counsellor whenever you want. Just find the right person for you.
Mm. And it's almost like that maintenance, isn't it? Like you take
Yeah.
your car to a mechanic if you take it like every 12 months to be serviced. And you'll obviously book in with a PT to, for a program.
Yes.
It almost is that like less of a stigma. I think, okay, this is just your kind of, you're just your servicing, it's just your
Yeah.
maintenance. And it
It
is.
because I have clients that come and see me every week.
Yeah.
Or every fortnight or every 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
or however they've started.
Mm.
But I've still got clients who I've been seeing for two years longer, because they come and see me monthly for, like you said, for their maintenance check, to just offload and go, I'm okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. And it's having spaces to do that, and having that
Yeah.
opportunity to check in and think, well, actually, because of like you may have your support network of your family, but also speak to somebody else who isn't directly involved, just gives you a little more distance.
Yes.
That can help and give you maybe a little perspective, or a little,
Yes.
like saying, a little maintenance check and everything else.
Yes.
It's enabling people to do that. And I think, like I say, yourself and services like the services that you offer just enable people just to do that little check-in with self.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So how do people then get in touch with you and contact, like whether referring into yourself or those therapists that you work with? How can people find you and contact you?
So we are on Facebook and Facebook, Instagram, I'm gonna reel them off, LinkedIn, and then my website is mazecounselling.com. And how you can distinguish us from other people, how you're trying to look around for a logo. My logo is green, and it's weirdly, my daughter designed it. It's actually my initials, LS, but it's in a triangle.
Okay.
I saw a rotating green triangle when I did a meditation.
There we go.
There you
Green
go.
is your heart chakra as well, isn't it?
Exactly. So it's a green logo. It looks like a triangle, but it's like a white LS, and it looks like a maze.
Okay.
That's where you can find me.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you for the conversation, Leanne, sharing your journey with us. I think it's priceless to have that kind of insight from, obviously everyone has a journey to where they get to, and obviously yours has been fundamental to where you are now. But it's that kind of gentle reminder that seeking support is okay.
Yes.
It's enabling you to develop that resilience, but
Yes.
also empower yourself as well, whether that through those different changes and transitions that we make. But I just think, obviously, when support is accessible, it can change lives. And I think it's just that kind of reminder that everyone has to navigate their life alone. And I think that's it's amazing. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been so lovely.
It has. It's been a pleasure. I will drop all your links as well. They will be in the intro description as well. But thank you.
Thank you so much, Marie.
You're very welcome. You take care.
Take care.